a fixed false belief that is not grounded in reality.
Welcome, dog fans, to the one and only dog show with Troup and Smooch.
Come on.
We trust you folks had a Merry Christmas. We just wanted to send out a little content as we prepare, get our game faces on.
There you go.
For the Ole Miss Rebels on January 1st. Smooch, we were made aware today about Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss. And now he doesn't have a whole lot of attention on Twitter, but that's where I found him. And you sent it to me from TikTok. So we're sending his page a whole lot more attention. As a matter of fact, on Twitter, we saw where he was maybe getting 50 to 150 views.
Right.
And last check, he had 43,000 on the one we sent out on Twitter. We copied and shared.
You are welcome, brother. What is it you always say, Troop?
Yeah, this is probably the most famous you'll ever be, Stephen. Enjoy it for the next week. It'll be over soon. It'll be over.
It'll all be over. No one will know who Ole Miss is again.
Yes, so we're going to share 3 little videos. We're going to talk just briefly about each of them. This is a short little video for us just to get it out there before we do our full video next week, or full episode next week. But Smooch is going to play these, and we're going to allow you to enjoy them.
Georgia's schedule on the road has been incredibly soft this year. Georgia has taken all season long, and their road slate has frankly been forgiving. Georgia this season has had a fairly Charmin extra soft road schedule. Ooh. Georgia away from Athens is a different team than Georgia at Athens. The home away from home for Ole Miss fans is the Superdome in New Orleans. There's going to be more Ole Miss fans in the Sugar Bowl than Georgia fans. Ole Miss fan base is going to buy up most every ticket in New Orleans. Everybody I'm talked to is going to New Orleans. Georgia's made it thus far this season. One of these games they're not going to. Ooh. There are legitimate factors working in the Rebels' favor.
Yes, thoughts on that one, Smooch, as he thinks that just the amount of miles we have to travel, Georgia has to travel. And Georgia has played their toughest games at home this year. But, I don't think that's the biggest factor where they played the game. What do you think about Steven's thoughts?
Actually, if this was an episode of Jeopardy, Troop, I would say, Alex, I'll have grasping at straws for 1,000. That would be what just happened here. So okay, for those of you who can't understand, because Georgia plays one of the hardest, if not the hardest schedules in college football, the only break Georgia gets in college football is that Georgia can't play Georgia. That's it. So let me try and break down what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that because of the geographic locations of these schools, that Georgia's schedule has been easy because they're not traveling all these vast distances. You know, when you talk about an easy road schedule, going into Tennessee and winning at Neyland makes any road schedule a beast. They did that. And just to further exemplify the level of absolute delusion we're talking about here, Troop, was Georgia's only loss this year at home or away?
I believe that was at home.
That was at home, Troop. Yes. And then when they avenged that loss, were they at home then?
Well, they weren't. And the naysayers will say, well, it's a home away from home.
Oh.
Yeah, just like they said the same thing when we played Georgia Tech and the Benz. Yeah. It's a home away from home from Georgia. And they said Atlanta. Anybody can get there. Anybody can buy tickets. They allot them 50-50. You can get those. The amount of bus ride doesn't affect anything, folks. No. Come on. And there's another point before we move on to the next video was that everybody he's talked to, and it's a closer game for them to get to, but everybody's talked to is going. So all 16 of his friends are going, and that's going to fill up their side and take a lot of our tickets away too. Georgia travels quite well. It should be closer to 50-50. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Georgia's got a lot more history in traveling in these games than Ole Miss does. We'll find out.
Yeah, and the one thing you can tell about Ole Miss fans, this guy really exemplifies that, and you'll see that with the videos we're about to play, is that this whole into the national scene of talking college football, this is really new to them. It's not something they're used to doing, and so they don't really know how to talk trash, and they seem to want to hedge their bets at the same time. They can win a national championship, but as you're about to hear, this game doesn't really matter, Troop.
Play it. Let's go.
And now you have the Georgia Bulldogs, the ultimate free shot, a chance to avenge. Ole Miss has the ultimate free shot. This is a ticked-off football team. If Ole Miss wins this game, it should not be considered an upset. The Ole Miss defensive line is a different animal now than it was whenever they played Georgia the first time. You're going to be dealing with a defensive line that is starting to figure things out. Even if Ole Miss loses the game and it doesn't matter the score, if Georgia won the game 50-0, it wouldn't matter. Momentum for next season is off the charts already. And after that Tulane game, this game just doesn't matter for anything negative. Ole Miss is playing with absolutely zero pressure. I don't know if anybody is going to be able to beat them.
Wow. Love that, Stephen. Great take.
Yeah.
As that they have no pressure. It's a free shot. They're playing great football. They've improved dramatically. I don't know what he's basing that on. I think it just feels good to say.
Well, they played the Citadel. You improve dramatically when you play the Citadel.
Yeah. So, and they had no pressure. But if they do lose, there's nothing negative to take from that. If they lose 50-0, they're still going to be better next year. Even though they just had a coaching change and they have a coach who's never been a head coach at this level. I don't think, has he? No. I don't think Golesh is it. What's it's not Golesh. This is it's the Golding.
Yeah, Golding. Yeah, and he's a likable guy. He seems very gregarious, charismatic. I can see where he could be a good leader of men. But this idea that you're going to, we said this about Alabama, you're going to lose Lane Kiffin and you're going to get better. It's guaranteed. And it's so guaranteed that the outcome of this game is not important. You know what a transfer portal is? Do you know how fickle these kids are nowadays? You go and get smoked in this game by 50. I guarantee you it hurts you in recruiting, not to mention the negative recruiting that has on the other side of it. The thing about this that bothered me the most, well, there were two things. Number one, these supposed improvements, and I've looked over the Ole Miss numbers. All I saw was Ole Miss play weaker competition and put up slightly better numbers as the season went on. If you were to look at the two teams side by side, I don't think any, and I'm not speaking as a Georgia fan here, I think any objective observer of college football would tell you the most improved team this season is the Georgia Bulldogs, and it started after the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss has not tasted this defense, not in the current iteration. And that was enough to take out Tennessee. It was enough to take out Ole Miss. So the idea that Georgia somehow has remained stagnant while Ole Miss has made all these improvements, haven't really seen it. And finally, Troup, Brinson.
Yes.
Watching all these videos and these Ole Miss folks that are coming out, which, by the way, welcome, guys. We welcome you to the conversation. I don't know where you've been all this time, but it's good to have you now. But when you are hanging your hat, when you are saying, because of the game we played against, you ready? Tulane. Because of the game we played against Tulane, that's all. We don't need anything else. The rest of the season's just a bonus. It's just gravy. It doesn't matter what happens. Why? Because we beat Tulane. Tulane? Really?
Sound like he's satisfied. I think that, like you said, they're hedging their bets a little bit as this team's got nothing to lose and they're playing better and better football and they don't think anybody can beat them at this if they play that way, if they play with reckless abandon. They didn't say that. But he did say if they play like this, it's house money, and they play with the right attitude that they shouldn't be able to stop. You got one more clip there, Smooch, them talking about Trinidad Chambliss?
I got one, Trinidad Chambliss. And, guys, I want you to think about something here. I want you to think about a man named Stetson Bennett.
Dealing with a Trinidad Chambliss that's better, more composed than before.
Chambliss, he's one of the greatest stories in the history of college football. One of the greatest stories in the history of college football. One of the greatest stories in the history of college football. Dude was at freaking Ferris State right now at this time last year. Okay, Ferris State. That is not normal to end up in the SEC and be as good as any player in the league. Never heard of anything like that. Never heard of anything like that. Never heard of anything like that.
Trinidad Chambliss is a good story. He came out of nowhere. It's not about their defense. It's going to be their offense that plays very similar without Georgia slowing them down for 3 or 4 quarters. That's where this game hinges. And you just got to feel like, even though Chambliss is a good story, and if you want to put him right beside Stetson Bennett as one of the best stories ever, he's going to need to win a little bit more instead of, I understand where their fans get off feeling so excited about it. But that just tells you that they are a little bit new to the situation, and they've been They haven't really paid attention to college football in the last few years.
No, I mean that's exactly what it shows. And the thing is your guy, Trinidad Chambliss, who I think is an exemplary quarterback. It wouldn't have surprised me if he was in the talk to go to New York this past year. That wouldn't have surprised me. I mean, I thought he played really well. However, Stetson Bennett played his best game with the game on the line. That's when he was at his best. That's when he did it. Stetson Bennett played his best football when it mattered most. Trinidad Chambliss had a chance to come back and tie that game against the Georgia Bulldogs and laid an egg. The offense went dormant for a quarter at the end of that game. Now, if he's going to get all the credit as the leader, he has to receive the blame as the leader when the offense goes off a cliff after putting up crazy numbers early in that game. So, I'm just not a fan of hyperbole. Is he a great story?
That's exactly the word.
Yeah, is he a great story for 2025? Absolutely. Is Disney and Hallmark beating down his door for the movie rights? No, not just yet. Not just yet, guys.
So far, he's got Tulane under his belt in terms of winning an elimination game. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So he's going to have his chance against Georgia games. And that's what you have to do to have that legacy and to be a quarterback, especially a quarterback who people talk about for years and years. You got to get some hardware. You got to get a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And so we just wanted to share these things with you. And it was interesting. And we didn't see anybody talking about Ole Miss a whole lot. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
And Georgia is favored. And he did say, Stephen Willis did say at some point that it wouldn't be a upset. It would be an upset, technically an upset, because Georgia is favored by almost a touchdown right in there. But we're going to find out. We'll come back next week and do a full show and talk about the other games, plus the Georgia game, of course, and everything that's been going on around it.
Absolutely. When we talk about this, we're not saying Ole Miss can't come in and win this football game. They most certainly can. They've proved it before. They almost won the last one. The point we're making is these counterpoints and reasons for hope are so far off base, they have nothing to do with actually how a football game is played. Geographic distance, the emotional story behind a quarterback, or the fact that you're, quote, playing with house money because you've already beat Tulane, those are not those aren't the stars to which you hitch your championship wagon, Troup Brinson.
Not at all, not at all. Just grasping, like we said, just grasping. But it's fun, and good luck locked on Ole Miss. We'll hopefully have a little something to say later.
Anytime you want to come on the show, let us know, man.
All right, for Smooch Moncrief, this is Troup Brinson. Say so long. We see you soon.
So delusion is a fixed false belief that doesn't change in light of conflicting evidence.
They don't know reality from their dream worlds, and they won't go outside and play.
A fixed false belief that is not grounded in reality.
Ole Miss is America's team. Ole Miss is 100% America's team. I think everybody on the planet's rooting for Ole Miss.